Okay, you're set to go.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll open the regular meeting of the Kent Inland Wetlands Commission at 7:03. And for the record, show that regular members, myself, Lynn Warner, Tony Palumbo, Marge Smith, Ken Johnson are here. Is that correct? Tony, you're a full member, right?
I think I'm an alternate.
Yeah.
Anthony's an alternate.
Okay, so is it, by the way, do you prefer Anthony or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I get called both.
Okay. Okay. All right. So for the record, show that Lynn Warner, Marge Smith, Ken Johnson are here as regular members, and we will need to elevate either Anthony or Hillary. Can we, and we can't elevate both. Is that right, Donna, or can we?
I don't think that you can. I think you can only alternate one, since you have, well, you could alternate two because you've got two regular members that are missing.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. 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 So we need a motion. Well, let's also show that, for the record, Donna Hayes, our land use administrator, is here, along with a couple of rep application pool. We need a motion to
I'll make a
appoint.
Okay, I'll make a motion to elevate Anthony and Hillary to voting status.
Great.
Seconded.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstention? Okay. All right. So we are good to go. Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes of the regular meeting on December 20?
I-
And if so, anybody have any?
I've got two tiny little corrections. On three, oh boy, where are we? I've got to get all right, I can't find the minutes myself, but I made notes on 3A, the word but should be B-E.
So here's what it says. Ms. Smith asked that the word "and" in the first sentence of the discussion of agenda 6A1 on page 2 be. You're right, it says but it should be
Yeah.
be.
And then
Be
on
changed.
6A2, the sentence is just a little awkward, and I think if you delete the words "to look," because it sort of
First,
says
to
that
look.
twice.
Yep. Got that too. So it would say, Ms. Warner said that now might be a good time for Ms. Hayes to look at possible,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Other than that, excellent, nicely done.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, so we need a motion with those amendments to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 20th meeting as amended.
I second that motion.
Thanks, Ken. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. Okay, it looks like Cindy has joined us.
So now what do we
Yes.
do?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so rule of order, Donna. What does that mean?
So what you would do is you would de-elevate, and usually you de-elevate the one with the least seniority. And that would be
Hillary.
Oh, Hillary.
I'm
Now,
sorry, I
Hillary,
didn't mean to
that's-
ruin someone's party.
Okay,
Sorry.
Hillary, listen, that does not mean that you can't participate in the conversation.
that's
It
right.
just means that you can't vote. You can ask questions, you can raise objections, you know, you can do whatever. Okay,
Okay.
so we need a motion to de-elevate Hillary with the understanding that she can fully participate in the conversation.
So moved with extreme prejudice.
Seconded with prejudice.
Any
My
further-
spot.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstention? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, moving right along.
I
can,
do
it's
have
mentioned-
an-
Yeah,
I do have an add to the agenda.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
And it's nothing major. It's just, and it's in the public meeting folder. I received in today's mail a new pesticide application up in Fuller Pond, which is a Pond Mountain Trust pond.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's in the meeting folder scanned. So, but I didn't want to wait a month. So
Mhm.
that's why I put it in for now.
okay, great, thank you. So we need a motion to add a 6A3, I guess.
Well, Yeah, I
Um,
would just say add the permit application for for the use of pesticides in the Williams, yep, wrong one. In the Fuller Pond to 6A2.
Okay. So cover
So
both
moved.
the pesticide application. 6A2.
Second,
Okay, so that was Marge
Yeah.
and Ken.
And
Dee?
Ken and Deets.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, now we'll move into new business. 4A on the agenda, application 1274-22, Dan Greenbaum. Got the materials, and it looks like Dan is here. Right? Donna, do you want to just kind of set the stage with this application for us, and then we'll let Dan add whatever he would like?
Sure. So basically, Dan purchased two pieces of property up on North Spectacle Lake. One is Lapping Waters Cottage. Remember that? It's right on
yeah.
the water, and then the
Yeah.
cottage behind it. So what they are planning on, in order to use the buildings, they are going to need to work with the Torrington Area Health Department to take out an existing cesspool and add in a tank that will be pumped. And then they're also going to be crushing down and leaving. They're going to be removing two other cesspools as well.
So are they locating the plastic tanks where the old cesspools were? That was one thing I didn't understand.
I will open up if I can find it and share the screen.
Okay.
Okay, it's not working. Come on. It can be.
yes,
Can you share this?
sure. The site plan?
Yeah. For
Sure.
some reason, I'm getting some kind of disturbance and I can't get into the file.
Why does it keep trying to print everything I open? Stop it. Hang on 1 second. I got a bunch of work stuff open on my computer. I gotta close.
Thank you.
Go. There we go.
It's so funny. I was on the Board of Selectmen meeting before this one and there was no issue at all. Now all of a sudden I'm having issues.
That's okay.
So on the
Everybody see me?
site plan.
Yep.
Yep, thank you. I can see where the two new 1,500-gallon tanks are going in. Yep. And where, oh, there we are, existing metal septic.
And then the metallic
1 and
septic is
2.
pointed to here.
Yep, thank you.
We're 46 feet from the edge of the water? Holy cow.
Right.
And the Torrington Area Health District is approving that?
No, I actually spoke to Kathy today. And she said that she's going to have to refer it to State Health Department. And they're either going to have to merge the two pieces of property because these are two separate lots. So they're going to have to either merge the two pieces together, or they're going to have to create some kind of a legal easement to allow one cottage to actually discharge onto another piece of property. So they still have not approved this. They're still waiting.
Okay,
From,
but if they were to be able to merge the two lots into one, what about how close it is to the lake? Talk about that.
How close? Oh, they did not talk about how close it is to the lake at all.
So
Well, they're
can
gonna
I,
have to, because doesn't it violate their own regulations?
Well, I think that's why she's referring it to the state.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, okay.
is there another issue if this is multiple property pieces? Is it okay that it's on one application or does it need to be on two? Same owner, it's one application?
No, because it's two separate lots.
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
That
Yeah,
might be
but-
one.
I don't
They're
think
opposite
it'll,
of ours.
I don't
I
think
don't
it'll be,
see. This is Ken. I don't see the lots on this diagram. Where are the lots in
I don't-
relation?
hi, this is Dan. If I may interrupt for a second, the deed in the Lapping Waters cottage and in our deed specifies that Lapping Waters is permitted to build a septic or has access to the other cottage land to build the septic. So it's not really, it's in the deed already. And as a reference to the location, as how close to the water it is, I want to remind everybody, these are not leaching fields. There's nothing emitting from these. These are storage tanks, which will be pumped out. So
I see, I see.
there's nothing coming out of them into the lake.
This is,
So
in other
how
words,
often-
these, my question is, these storage tanks are just like any septic system where the effluent goes into a tank and then it is taken out to fields someplace else?
No, that's not correct. There are no fields. These are simply like giant porta potty tanks. They don't empty out anywhere except into a truck.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We decided
So-
after looking at this for a long time, there's really no place to build fields here because of the ledge, the proximity to the water. It's just, it would be very complicated and seemingly for what our use is, not really worth it. So we've decided to pursue storage tanks per the advice of our engineer.
So I have a question, for tanks, each one of these tanks serves one of the buildings, is that correct?
They're actually going to be linked, the tanks would be linked together. So,
Okay,
I mean, not,
so then
tech-
that leads
they're
to my
basically-
second
it's like one-
question.
the reason for the 2 tanks is because to get the tanks back in there is quite difficult with the terrain. I know it doesn't show topography really as well, it does a little bit actually on the plan. But yeah, just to get them around to behind the cottage, we thought that, 2, and then, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. If something was to happen to one tank, at least it's not both, it's not all, So that's,
So they're physically linked, Dan, is that correct?
yeah.
So how does that work? Does one fill up and then the next one fills up, or do they equally, how does that work?
I think that one would probably fill up and then the next one would fill up, is I believe how it works.
And so do you wait for them both to be full before you pump them?
I think that there's an emergency like reservoir of several hundred gallons that it will, it basically is going to let you know when it's 3/4 full and you have to take care of it. So it's not, there's no way it's going to overflow, and that's not going to happen.
And there's access for a truck back there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
not-
Anthony, can you say that again? Access to,
Access for a truck, a pumping truck.
Well, yeah, obviously we have to get a truck, a hose back there, and I don't think access would be very easy in winter, but these are 3-season cottages, so we're not going to be pumping these in winter.
Where is the access road on this plan?
The driveway comes in above the second cottage, so it's sort of like where the power line, I think that line is maybe the power line. It's right up in there. And as you can see where Kenmont Road is. So, and the driveway is sort of, if you're looking at this plan, down and to the left from the house. And then they would have to walk across the backyard with the hose to pump out the tanks.
Is there a pump for the lower cottage? For the
There would be,
effluent filter?
yeah, exactly. And the top one,
Sorry, I missed that question, Tony.
I asked you, there's a pump in the lower cottage so the effluent can flow uphill.
I have a question.
Wait a minute,
This is Ken.
I'd like to hear the answer to that question. Dan, did you say there is that the lower cottage will actually pump effluent up to the storage tank?
yeah, that's going to be necessary, yes.
And where does that pump go?
The pump is in the little kind of space behind the cottage. It's a sealed in unit. It's pretty
Does
new.
that show up on the plan? That on the,
That's already there.
Yeah,
Okay.
nail in sump elevation 500. Or nail in stump, excuse me, no, that's not, no, stump, not sump, never mind, sorry.
The sump is, well, with the pump or sump or whatever, it's pre-existing. They had a septic.
It's marked as being in line here.
right,
got it,
Connect
Thank
to
you.
existing grinder pump.
Yep.
got it.
So
I have a question. This is Ken.
Hey, Ken,
What happens if these folks who live in these, they're not living there, they are renting? Suppose these tanks are full. What happens when the tanks fill up? And let's say I know there's an alarm system, but what if the alarm system is down, say the power is out or something like that? What's going to happen if the tanks are full?
Okay, I guess the question is directed to me. Well, one answer is
Correct.
that we are Kent residents. We live 12 minutes away from these. These are basically our vacation house. So we're pretty on top of everything to do with the house. And, from shutting down the water, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we do to take care of it. And we're constantly there and taking care of it. So it's definitely not going to happen on our watch.
Yeah, well, this is my question. I don't doubt that you'll take care of it, but what if you sold the property as is? Will the folks, the new buyers, would they understand this septic system, how it operates?
I think they would, because, we would give them the full rundown and understand that it needs to be pumped out. And it's,
These systems are pretty,
sealed in. I mean, I think the system will be pretty well sealed in, so the toilet's going to overflow before the tank does.
right,
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
they use similar systems to this around Lake Waranock too. This
and
isn't
certainly
some,
it's better than the cesspool. that's
This is
there.
certainly a heck of a lot better than what's there, trust me.
Yeah,
yeah,
Dan, is there gonna be a new line from the lower cottage up to the the tanks? Or using
Uh,
the existing line?
There's an existing line, which I don't know if we're gonna replace it or use it. Depends on, it looks like it's in good shape, but
Does the existing line go to the upper cottage and then to the tanks, or is it directly to the tanks?
it would go directly to the tank.
And that exists currently, or there's not a line right now?
It doesn't go that high. It currently goes to another little cesspool thing, which is
Right here.
not, it hasn't really been used in many years, actually.
Mhm.
But
Will the silt fence
Uh,
cover any excavation of that line if you have to dig it?
we don't intend to really dig that line. That's going to be mainly above ground because the ledge,
Okay,
that pump line. So we'll obviously have to drain it every winter so it doesn't freeze and crack and stuff.
do you have
Just like
to,
we have to drain everything up there because everything's on ledge. There's no there's no water, there's no septic in winter.
will the tanks be buried?
Yeah. Now, and I understand that even if if stuff in them did freeze, from what I understand, it doesn't affect anything.
Do you have to hammer any of the rock to get
I
them in
asked-
the ground?
I'm sorry?
Do you have to hammer any of the ledge to get it in the ground, or you?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
do anticipate doing some hammering to get them in, yeah.
But you're only 10 foot off the structure, so you're gonna be hammering, you're not gonna be blasting, so.
No blasting. I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, no.
Um,
Yeah, you can get a small or a good medium-sized excavator in there and with a hydraulic hammer.
How much do you anticipate to get down to the ledge? Is it like a foot or two of overburden?
It slopes, so it's going to be on the uphill side. It's going to be a lot of rock and hopefully not so much on the downhill side.
It's Connecticut, it's all rock.
Well, I know that where the tank is currently, at least, it's about 5 or 6 feet of dirt, but further up, it's probably only a foot or so.
Do you think you have to bring in fill to cover the tanks? Or you're gonna use-
We're hoping that whatever we can dig up from the existing area will be sufficient, but it's possible, yeah. We have obviously in the plans the silt fence and bales and
Right,
ways of retaining all that, but from what these are low profile tanks, they're only like I think it says, I can't zoom in on my screen here, but they're like around 3 or 4 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean, it says 28 inches to the alarm level and then,
Right, so the top of the tank might be like 3 feet roughly,
yeah, it's another foot to the top, it looks like. So,
But where is the liquid going the way it is now? Before any changes?
Going into the
There's
cesspool
a
can.
septic system. Well, it's actually a sort of a septic. It's got at least one field. But it's metal and it's collapsing.
Is that the grid? I see 2 grid areas on the map. Is that where the fields are now?
no, those are the houses,
Okay.
the dotted grids.
There's no existing fields on the map. Just the new ones.
I see, okay.
Sorry. not
So
new-
this will definitely be an improvement.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's correct.
Nope, lost my lights.
So the only real concern would be if there was some kind of a catastrophic break and stuff started to flow down the hill into the lake. And I imagine that the health district is going to have to verify
Yeah.
this technology. So we can't take any action at tonight's meeting anyway. And hopefully by the next meeting, we will have heard back from the health district on their take on this. Are there any other questions we have for Dan
No,
while we've got him?
Well, I do want to make.
I have one question. I was just asking, we were talking about inspection, and maybe something
gotta-
to look into is if you get this inspected once a
Hillary?
year.
Hillary? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
your sound system is reverberating. Do you have two speakers open?
No.
Sounds like an echo.
I have a very large ceiling.
No.
It's definitely
that's-
feedback.
It's feed,
I'll take it.
Usually when that happens to me, it's because I've got my speaker on my computer on and even though it doesn't work, and my phone.
I think you fixed it.
Well, she muted herself.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Same.
yes, but with feedback here.
You want to put your question in chat?
Yeah.
so when Kathy came out to look at the site, there was a state representative from the health department with her. And he's the one that suggested doing the tanks. So now I'm kind of confused why the state is going to be petitioned to approve it.
What?
Hmm?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Dan.
What I was saying was
Kind of
when
what?
we had the engineer and we walked through, we talked about how to do the site plan. Kathy didn't even come out without a state person from the health department, her supervisor. Sorry, my lights keep going out. And, he was the one that basically suggested the idea of the tank and that it would be too difficult to do fields here. And so it seemed to me this was the acceptable and preferred seeming method to do this way.
So theoretically, they will approve it then.
Well, I'm confused why it's not already done, and it's sort of frustrating, but whatever, it is what it is.
Well, they're
We can't help
certainly
you.
more knowledgeable than we are regarding septic systems. So we have to take their word. If they say it's okay, there's no way we can say no.
Well, that's
I-
not necessarily true, Ken. We have broader considerations wetland wise. They have a health code that they have to follow up with. I wanted to read Hillary's question, which is, will there be a yearly inspection to prevent leaks?
Good question.
I don't know. I mean,
I
it's
think what she's asking is, because the main concern for us would be if there were to be some kind of a catastrophic event and the stuff started to ooze down the hill toward the lake, say in the winter when no one's there. Is there some kind of maintenance, regular maintenance that happens
Yeah,
that would discover a problem or a leak before it became a serious issue?
I think
I
that
don't-
makes sense.
I mean, these things need to be pumped pretty regularly.
Right,
If
presumably when
they're
they
seeing
pump
any
it,
amount of use.
right? Presumably when they pump it, they'll probably inspect it, correct or no?
That's what we're
Well, they
asking
don't.
you.
Yeah.
Maybe you could find out. Was that Anthony who asked that question or Dan?
Hillary. asked the
Hillary,
No, I'm
Yep.
talking about the, presumably when they pump it out, they inspect it. I don't know if that's true.
It's
Oh, that was-
not, you usually have to pay a septic company to do a separate inspection. They don't do it as part of the pump out. It's no different than a tank, just a larger volume.
I think that's a good suggestion, good question. We need the answer and should suggest it.
Yep. So Dan, maybe you could explore that prior to our next wetlands meeting.
What sort of
Yeah, what do you-
language or wording would you be looking for this? Like, a written guarantee that to submit the inspection, or like, how do you follow up on it? Do we just say, yeah, we'll inspect it and that's it? Or
It would become part of your permit requirement.
Mhm.
And if you sold the property, whoever accepted the property would have to commit to doing an annual maintenance or whatever's recommended for this.
But there's no policing it. We're not, we don't require a check-in every year if it's been inspected. It's something that we request being done, right?
It would be put in, right, it would be put into the permit,
Mhm.
so that there's an understanding that because of its proximity to the lake, there's a specific concern, should there be some kind of catastrophic event. So we'd like some, maintenance schedule, whatever's recommended for this kind of facility that would preclude a small problem turning into a major problem for the lake.
So
That
I'm
would
just
catch a small problem.
kind of envisioning like how a small problem could turn into a catastrophic event. I don't think that, you know, a small leak in this tank would suddenly erupt. I mean, there's no pressure. And I think a catastrophic event to me, I imagine like an earthquake maybe, or even then I think the tanks, they're made of HDPE. It's like really amazingly strong plastic. It's not, you know, very fragile whatsoever. I mean, they make whitewater kayaks and stuff out of this material. It's pretty bomb-proof. You can almost drop a tree on it and it would bounce.
Well, perhaps you
Um,
could provide us with the manufacturer or your engineer's take on whether or not some kind of
yeah,
annual or regular inspection is needed, and if so, what kind, you know, how often? That would be really helpful. None of us here know much about this at all. We're not experts in
I will
holding tanks.
absolutely get my engineer. Is that to detail that?
Just
in
ask
the-
the question. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure.
All right. And any other questions?
Nope.
I think
This
it's
is
kind of
Ken.
an ingenious solution.
This is,
for-
before we make the motion. Hello,
Sorry, Ken.
this is Ken. I think before we make this motion, I think there ought to be some kind of correspondence with the, what do you call it? The health department. Who approves the sanitation system?
Right.
What do they
Right,
call
would
that?
be the health district. And we
Sorry
can't approve this tonight. We're accepting it, we're discussing it, and we would take action at our next regular meeting. By then, we'll have hopefully information from the health district as well as from Dan's engineer relative to, you know, whether or not inspection on an annual basis or some regular basis makes sense because of its proximity to the lake and the concern we have about the lake. So we wouldn't act tonight anyway. The only motion we would make tonight is to defer it to our next regular meeting.
So there is only, before we move on, there's just one more thing which Donna was going to mention, I think, is there is a propane tank also to be installed just next to the lower cabin for a
Is
gas
that on the
range.
site plan?
It's not on this plan, but I just mentioned it to Donna and she said that she could put it in there or something.
Yeah, I forgot, my mistake. So if you can update that site plan and just show where it's gonna be put.
Since it has to be tabled till next meeting anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're asking Dan to do that, Donna?
Yeah, it's no problem.
Okay.
And the same kind of
Also,
details, size and so forth.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like 100-gallon tank.
Yeah.
But don't you feel, though, that we should have some kind of communication about this project with the health department or the people who approve the septic system?
Yes, Ken, that's what I was saying, that we would have that by our next
Yes,
meeting.
okay, all right,
Yeah, that conversation's already going on, right?
Yes,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
if there's
because
no
we couldn't-
additional question or information, Dan, were you starting to say something and I cut you off?
No, I'm sorry. I
Dan?
just said the reason we couldn't bring it to the meeting last month is because Kathy said she hadn't had time to look at it or approve it.
Okay.
But now that she has had time, I guess now the state needs time to look at it and approve it.
State? No.
Okay,
No.
so what we need is a motion to what is the word? I keep saying defer. That's not the right word.
Table,
Table,
Table.
Now,
Table,
continue.
thank you.
continue, right, no, Donna's
This
right.
application-
Continue to,
Continue this application to the next regular meeting.
so moved.
Seconded,
Thank you. Thank you, Ken.
welcome.
Any further discussion?
Okay, I'm all set. I'm about to hang out, but
All,
I-
let me finish the motion. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed or abstention? Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
Thanks, Dan.
okay, thank you. Good night.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Kind of a cool idea, which I'm not all that familiar with. But Ken Dietz, it sounds like they do this, they're doing this around Lake Ormo too. Are you the one who said that? Or did somebody
yeah,
else say
I
that?
remember, my grandparents' neighbors, 71 West Shore Road. They had something like this in their garage because there was no property to put a leach field in.
Oh,
Wow. No idea. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to application 1275-22. Brian Neff for Benjamin Rosen, and Brian is there. Hi, Brian.
Aye.
23 Malwee Brook. Donna, was there anything you wanted to say specifically about this before we ask Brian to just walk us through?
No, I think Brian, he does a good job.
Okay.
Thank you. This is a proposed 18-foot by 30-foot single-story addition to the rear of the Rosen residence. It's intended for a home office for Mr. Rosen. And the site plan shows the location of the addition. It's on the back side of the house. It's towards the brook that flows across the backyard. The distance from the edge of the brook to the closest point of the addition is 60 feet. And part of the proposal is also a walkway that goes around the addition and connects in with a patio that's there right now, a courtyard. So plan indicates the proposed addition. There's a maple tree right behind the addition. It's going to be moved back slightly. It's a nice tree. They want to save it, but it would be too close to the addition, so they're going to move that back a few feet. It's a fairly small area that can be worked inside of for construction. In terms of physical barriers, there's an existing stone wall that's located between the house and the brook, it's a pretty good sized wall. It's about maybe 3.5 feet tall, about 3 feet wide. It's been rebuilt in recent years, and it's a good structural barrier between the work zone and the brook itself. So that's the proposal. The site plan shows the existing house, driveway, pool, the brook location, a proposed limited disturbance along with erosion controls around the rear and the down gradient side of the work zone.
So where is the tree going to be moved?
It's going to be moved slightly away from the addition. There's a little green line that shows the existing location very close to the addition. It's going to be moved back by maybe 5 or 6 feet. It's a nice tree. They'd like to save that tree, but it really needs to be relocated back a little bit to make clearance for the tree.
So is that going to be significant excavation there to get all the roots and move it?
Well, you figure the root line is probably near the drip line of the tree itself. So if you look at the scale of the tree, which is drawn to scale, it's within that drip line area, probably something in the range of maybe 16 feet in diameter, that they would dig out, spade out, basically slide it over and replant it. So it's not moving a long distance.
Brian, are they using a tree spade to do that, or is it going to be done by hand?
Well, it's kind of a tight squeeze to get a tree spade in there.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah,
So probably more by hand is my guess.
okay. Even so, there shouldn't be that much disturbance.
No, they like to save the tree though. It's a nice looking tree.
It's a 16-foot excavation area. And then they'll just be refilling it back in, I guess.
Yes, using the same
Right.
topsoil mix that's there right now. The current area right now is just a lawn area with that tree. In terms of existing conditions of that area.
Are they putting
Okay.
the addition on a slab?
They're either going to do a slab or a crawl space for the addition. It's not going to be a full basement.
Hillary is asking what part of the property falls within the conservation easement area? I see you cannot cut or grade within that area. Are you showing the easement on the plan?
The easement is actually outside this location shown on the plan. It's more on the eastern side of the house, the other side of the brook. It's a fairly good sized easement area. And I did send a copy of this plan and the application to them for approval, since they're required to sign off on these things, since there is conservation easement on the property.
So you expect that will happen prior to our next meeting?
Yes.
So although you are filling in some of that area behind that tree, it's actually not as close to the brook as part of the existing house. Is that right?
That's right. That's correct.
It's all within the area bounded by that stone wall anyway, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the stone wall is a good barrier between the work area and the brook itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Donna, any other questions from you?
No, none at all. I've actually, I've been to the site and walked around the back there. And you know, the rock wall is definitely a good barrier
Mhm.
for sure.
Is there room to get any equipment back there, or are they gonna have to do this all by hand?
Yeah, it's really, really tight. I
They
can't,
can,
go ahead,
they
Brian.
can bring some equipment around the back of the house, probably put mats on top of the existing courtyard that's there right now, behind the portion of the house that's closest to the brook. You can come around that way, probably put mats on top of the courtyard and bring in equipment that way. But if it's going to be a slab on grade or just a crawl space, it'd be a minimal size excavator equipment to do that.
But that's not gonna disturb any of the soil on its approach or exit.
Would be a track machine, I'm sure, that would be fairly low ground pressure on the soil itself.
Yeah, so not that you have to extend the silt fence to that area.
Well, the silt fence kind of winds down. I've designated a stockpile area kind of adjacent to the pool. It's to the east side of the existing pool. It's another area of basically just a lawn. So that's appeared to be a pretty good area for some temporary soil stockpile.
Where is the septic in
great.
this, Brian?
The septic is
Right here.
marked. It's actually on the far side of the motor court.
You see in my screen share, Donna?
Yeah,
Important to
I
me.
can see the tank. I know Kathy always has an issue about driving heavy equipment over any of the leach fields or anything. And
The
I
leaching
see,
fields are these dashes.
yeah,
Yes,
and then the well is on the other side, which is another you would have to be careful of. There's
correct.
two
That's
of
up
them.
on the side hill on the south side.
Okay, so another question from Hillary. Is that a break in, oops. Is that a break in the stone wall that the equipment will be driving by?
That's correct. Although
So her-
the areas there is very flat.
Yeah. but
Maybe
just a
driving on
concern about-
top of the courtyard to do that, which is a granite courtyard.
Her concern is just any erosion that might make it through that gap down toward the brook. Is there a way to put up a barrier to prevent erosion from machinery or hay bales or something?
Well, this-
Where that break is.
The silt fence is marked up against it.
No,
Yeah,
she's
I could
talking
ex-
further.
I could extend
Where
that
the
silt
break
fence
is.
a little further out.
Yeah, that's what she's asking about, where the
Right.
break
Yeah,
is.
I can do that. It's not a big deal.
Thanks. Good suggestion.
Will the temporary topsoil stockpile be seeded?
Here,
Well, any excess topsoil will probably be removed from the site or maybe taken to another part of it. It's a big property. They may use it as planting medium for another area on the property itself.
if they're not doing a foundation. How
Right,
much soil
this-
they're really gonna disturb.
Okay. So you're saying that stockpile is not going to stay there even if there's excess stuff. It'll be moved and used for planting other material on site.
That's right,
answer
because
that
they'd want to
question.
return that to a lawn area that it is right now. They wouldn't leave a mound of soil there.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
Anything else you want to add, Brian?
No, not really. It's a fairly straightforward project, I think.
Okay. Okay, so we will take a motion to table and continue this application at our next regular meeting. And if anything changes, obviously, we'll talk about it then. All right, so we need a
So-
motion?
As Ken Johnson, I move that we table this until our next meeting.
Thank you, Ken. Second,
Second,
anyone? Thanks, Mark. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstention? Okay, thank you very much, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
We'll
Brian.
see you at the next.
thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, nothing under old business. Moving on to communications to the commission. We have the email from Mr. Novick, which is currently up on your screen. I know it's just for our information. This is a CC to us, but my concern is that potentially, is he talking about doing this work in the spring when there's potentially high water? I don't know if that's a problem. He's got, the water's low right now anyway, it sounds like. The pond is drawn down and will stay drawn down. I guess that's not, but if it's going to stay drawn down, a serious issue, but it was just something that crossed my mind, potentially it could be high water, and it could have downstream impacts. Does Ms. Mirza have approval over this, Donna?
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess we'll be hearing from her.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
So we'll move on to the two pesticide applications. The first one at Williams Pond on Camps Road. Is anybody familiar with this?
On Camps Road, no.
I am not at
I mean,
all.
it's like just a tiny little thing, like a man-made pond.
Is that Camp's Flat Road?
No. No, this is
No,
way out in
Camps
Kent
Road.
Hollow. Ken, it's way, way, way out, almost in the, was it New Milford border?
Oh. Uh-huh.
Out in the middle of
And-
nowhere.
And I just can't figure out why they're.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, okay, sorry.
anyway.
Well, what was, I'm sorry. Can't have one open and toggle. 6 Camps Road.
6 Camps Road, right?
It's right on the
Go to the
corner of
area.
Camps Road and Kent Hollow.
You go to the aerial photo.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah. That's what I was just starting to look for.
This is the property.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's the
there it
pond.
is.
Right there.
Yeah. This is a little tiny thing.
Yeah, it's very small.
Why are they wanting to treat it?
Algae, duckweed, watermeal, lily, curly leaf, and Phragmites. I wonder if they
They
shouldn't
don't want to
dredge
see
it.
anything green in it.
Not. Well, I know that they are new owners. And they've been doing a lot of work to the house, so I wonder if this is just part of their grand scheme to have their country home. I don't know. But I've driven past this a number of times when they were doing work. This is right on the, it's on the corner towards the brewery
Right.
and Tam Shell, and it's all very wet in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if the little pond across from the brewery doesn't have, if, I wonder if the water's coming from, I don't know if it's coming from there, it might be.
Well, and I wonder if it's just a man-made pond, if it's just filling in too much and they want to try to keep it alive. It looks awfully small.
Yeah. How many acres did he say it was?
The size of the footprint of the house.
Yeah,
Pretty
Yeah,
much,
I'm
it's really tiny.
No way it's an acre. I mean, yeah, it's
No.
a small portion of it. I just wonder if Phragmites are in there, they probably just afraid it's gonna get eaten up.
If this is a tennis court, it looks to be about twice the size of the court.
Right.
It's, the total acreage is 0.11.
Yeah.
So it's a tenth of an acre.
I just don't understand why you would just go resort to chemical treatment.
Well, if it's Phragmites, Lynn, that's the only thing I'm thinking, that somebody's told them you gotta get rid of that. I'm just guessing.
Is that the best way to do it?
No, I'm just saying that somebody
No.
probably told them to do it.
I mean, look at this,
Yeah.
look at this list of items to be controlled. For the first 4 are all naturally occurring, so.
Right. Hmm,
Hillary
They're
wants to know.
just nuking it to nuke it.
yeah.
Yeah, is it to increase curb appeal? I don't know,
Who's-
it feels, what's the word? As if it should be, chemical poison should be a last resort and not the first. order
Who's
of
the
business, but-
applicator? I'm trying to get back to the. Who's the applicant? Or who's the company that's doing it?
Jeff
Concord?
Stahl?
The pond and lake connection,
Oh, yeah,
Never heard
Zachary
of them.
Davis.
Never heard of them. Federal Road,
Jason?
Brookfield.
Do we, this is a question. Do you still hear feedback from me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
poor Hillary.
It's the microphone picking up directly from the speaker. If you angle the speaker away from the mic, it might help.
all right. I'm not sure what else we can say about this. We don't have any control over these kinds of applications, however,
I know, it's
As in
so
the-
frustrating. This
we
is
have noticed
ridiculous.
that
But can
in
we,
the past,
can
when we
we,
have noticed that there are issues or that the information in the application is inaccurate, like, for example, when they say there's no recreation and we know
Right.
darn well that there's a public access site there, we alert the state. This looks like a different kind of application though. It looks like the
No.
application,
It looks like it's
well,
got
maybe
the-
it's the same that we've always seen, but seems to be laid out a little differently. Maybe not.
no, I think
these-
it looks like the other one.
It looks the same.
Okay.
Are these applications biodegradable with time? I don't know, that could be, you know. You know, we shouldn't worry about it. If it's gonna, let's say in 6 months, it won't be effective anymore.
I'm not worried about a little private postage stamp pond, but when they start nuking Leonard Pond and say that there's no state access to it, I have a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How about Hatch Pond?
I could use a little nuking.
In a pond that small, are you going to have bluegill, bass, and minnow?
Depends
I
on
wouldn't-
how deep it is, you could.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Yeah.
Mhm.
Average depth,
You
3
can have
feet.
that
Yeah.
stuff in a puddle,
True.
you know.
Especially if there's a little bit of current flowing through it.
And they want to go swimming.
Yeah, they want to go swimming.
Hey.
Yeah,
In
the
their
pond
chemical
would be-
soup. Look at this. Holy crap. I'm sorry.
We have a pool and a
6 different
pond.
chemicals.
oh
The
my
pond-
God.
The pond would be good for you, right out of the movie.
Anyway,
Do we
it
have
doesn't
any-
seem like we have much
any-
to say on this. What's the next one, Sean?
No. Yeah. So can we pull up, is there anything else anybody wants to say, or can we move on to the next one?
Move on.
Okay, let's move on to solar pond. Oh, wow, I can't read that.
And I had a couple of things reading it.
Oh, thank you.
For number
Thank you.
4 on page 5 of 10, it says that there's no conservation or preservation restriction, isn't there? Isn't that the whole idea of the Pond Mountain Trust, that it's conserved?
I don't know whether
I don't
that's a
know.
legal conservation on it or not. That's a good point.
I don't know. Just because it's held by a
Don't think
trust
there is a
doesn't mean that it's,
conservation easement.
You don't think
That's
so,
like
Lynn?
White Memorial. No, it's not, well, I'm just saying it's not a guarantee. White Memorial, for example, has several thousand, 1,000 acres.
Yeah.
Most of which is not actually protected with a conservation easement.
Yeah, that's my, I think that's probably the case here too. I mean, they've preserved the property, but that doesn't mean there's a conservation easement on it legally.
Okay.
There's no
Um,
permanent protection for it, yeah.
Yeah, but I will say that the Phragmites, I've walked around that pond all the time, and the Phragmites in there is getting really scary.
And then I had
Once
one
again, would this
other
be the best way?
on number 11. See if I can find number.
did they
11.
really do a diversity database search for this? I find it very hard to believe there's nothing endangered or threatened on that property.
I did not look, because like I said, it came in the mail this afternoon at like 3 o'clock. But doesn't that waterway have public access or no? I mean, you can
It
bring your
has-
kayaks in.
No, you cannot. People, no, not to Pond Mountain, absolutely not.
Oh,
Yeah,
I,
there's-
You can't swim in it, you can walk around it, but that's it.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to fish in it.
Right.
my goodness, okay, because I talked to somebody and they said they bring their kayaks up there all the time.
To Pond
No.
Mountain, you'd have to, it's difficult to get in there.
Exactly, and that's what they said. If you want to take the time to carry, it's a wonderful kayak.
Well, they're doing that against the rules.
Okay,
Yeah. I've spoken to Steve Penner about it.
Yeah.
okay,
He's the applicant on here, so.
yeah. Those were the only 2 things that I had.
This surprises.
Well, once again, is this the best way to treat Phragmites? Or is this, best might not be the right word, but is this the most practical?
I don't know that it even accomplishes anything. What do you do? Knock it back?
I
Well,
don't
you
know, Mark.
can't, well, remember we had, was it John Gleason that was doing that up on, was it Botsford Road? But it was in more of a swampy area and he was able to cut it back. But
Paul's
this
Lane,
stuff- Hall's Lane, yeah. This is in the water. So I really don't know. I don't know what else you can do. I worry about it because it's coming into, yeah, between you and me, Ken, there's Phragmites coming in. But
Oh,
this is in the water, so I don't know how you'd mow it repeatedly like John did on Hall's Lane.
Hey, Hillary is answering Ken's question. You were asking about how quickly it breaks down. Hillary looked up the chemical and it quickly breaks down in the water. That is what the DEEP has told us, that the stuff does not linger. It does
Right.
its job and then it breaks down.
Mhm.
It feels counterintuitive, but that's what we've been told also. Thank you, Hillary.
That answers my question.
Okay.
Well, this is the first time for Pond Mountain they've never been treated before.
Yeah,
So I do send out a letter to the people. Remember, we had talked about that and telling them
Right.
that, there are other alternatives and maybe you should look at something that's a little bit not chemical, but a little bit more natural. And there are different ways of doing it. And to please investigate that. Maybe this letter will, drive them to do that.
yeah.
But I forgot that we did that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Donna.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Well, they've got to do something.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, any other
Other-
comments or concerns?
Other than the repeated mowing, has anyone had any success driving back Phragmites?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Wasn't there a guy up off of Muller? Wasn't he burning them?
That was John Gleason, wasn't it? We talked
No.
about burning and mowing repeatedly.
Yeah.
For some reason, the house was set back off of Muller. It was right around the cul-de-sac. It wasn't John Gleason, though. It was somebody
Okay, a
else.
different one. Okay.
Long was his name, Long or something.
Wow.
But I thought that they were burning them.
Well, you can't burn
Yeah,
this though.
I remember that cutting.
I
Cutting and
remember the
burning.
cutting. But, well, maybe burning what you cut. If you cut it and then haul it away and dump it somewhere, that's no good. You've got to cut it, burn it so that it doesn't seed. Or Phragmites, if you get one tiny little piece of root, it's gonna root.
Yeah.
So burning
Right.
what you cut. But I don't know.
If somebody hears about it in passing, I'd be interested to learn about it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anything effective against it. And like you said, the area around us is overrun with it. So.
Yep.
Hey, Donna.
Yes.
Donna.
Mhm.
In chat, Hillary has put the web link for the MSDS sheet for the chemical.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thanks, Hillary.
And I'm wondering, yeah, if you could just capture that, and maybe that'll be some additional information for us down the road.
Yep.
And then Hillary's also saying, since Phragmites is underwater, it would be very difficult to burn. Maybe that's why they're using the chemical, which I think is what you were saying, Marge, that you just don't know what else.
Well, yeah, because it's not burning the full plant. It's not
Yeah,
burning
you're
the
not gonna
living
burn the
plant.
roots.
You're
And
just,
yeah.
you're burning what you've cut,
Okay.
instead of just putting it in a dump pile somewhere.
Where it could spread.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
All the chats will be recorded, and then, when I get the recording uploaded, I can go into that, I can copy that and bookmark it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
What is that stuff called? Phragmite? How did you
Yeah.
say it?
Yeah.
Phragmites with an S on the end.
It's like a 6-foot tall, weedy looking plant.
It's got kind of a grassy top to it, Ken, and a lot of people think it's very pretty.
It's like cattails.
Well,
No?
It's
Not really.
It's not the same as purple straight.
It's like crabgrass on steroids.
no, it's
No,
not
it's
the
not
same
like-
as purple
it's not
loosestrife,
like
Ken,
purple
but it
loosestrife.
does grow in the same type of place.
I see.
Hang on, we have the interwebs. We can pull up a picture.
Ask Auntie Google.
Hang on. Oh, I spell it.
PHRAG.
Yeah.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Where am
Spell that again for me, please.
Here it is.
PHRAGMITES.
This is it.
Phragmites.
Yes,
Yeah, if you look at the top of the picture, you see that kind of feathery top.
Oh, yeah.
It's light brown.
Kind of looks something between
There it is.
sugarcane and crabgrass
Yeah.
with a corn top.
that's what I was gonna say.
Well, there's a whole, down on South Kent Road, as you go south,
Oh, yeah.
over,
It's everywhere.
there's a huge field of it out there.
Yes.
Looks like a big swamp.
It was a nice swamp before the frag got in there, for sure. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Hillary's also adding some, in the chat, a link to the state's.
Oh, cool, good.
PDF, which I'm just gonna click on right, oops. Oh, well, I tried to click on it and
Copy and
I
paste.
lost.
We can
Okay.
hear
Tried to
you.
click on it. I was just clicking on it and it just
There it is.
disappeared. There we go. But what does it say about treatment?
Technology, new shoots. Yeah, good luck. If the shoots off a node, burning it and cutting it's not going to get it done.
There, see? They pose a fire hazard.
Dead Phragmites, I think is what it said.
Yeah, it says herbicide application and mowing. Glyphosate? Oh, come on.
Restore saltwater flows. Well, that's not an option. We'll just pump the sound 400 feet up in the air. That'll get her done.
Yeah. Yeah, it said aquatic herbicides containing glyphosate and imazapyr, I don't know that one, can be used to control dense stands of Phragmites. An aquatic surfactant sticking agent is typically mixed with the herbicide prior to its application. Oh, boy. At 3 successive years has been found to be very effective in controlling Phragmites.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Thank you, Hillary.
there's not too many earth-friendly ways of
Alternative.
doing it, but
Look at this toy.
Maybe we can,
holy cow,
maybe we can find an animal that eats that stuff.
I wish. Well,
They'd be
that's what
they'd be roaming around very well fed if there were one.
Be a dinosaur.
Ken,
What?
that's what
What?
they did with the purple loosestrife that you were talking about. They found a beetle
Yeah.
that
Oh,
eats nothing but that. And it's made an enormous difference. I've seen it start to come back just little bits here and there, but and the beetles don't eat anything else. So maybe maybe they're already looking for something to get Phragmites, but I haven't heard of anything.
Send that beetle out.
But it doesn't eat Phragmites. It just
Yeah.
eats purple loosestrife. So
We have to teach them.
You get right on that, Ken.
okay, all right. Anything else?
all right.
Okay. Okay. What is that?
This was the MSDS sheet.
Oh, thank you. Can't really read it. And it would be great just having this in a file somewhere. That we could remember that we had it and actually use it. I had one thing under verbal that I just wanted to mention, which is, oh gosh, Donna, your plan as you're thinking about retirement, which I know is still a ways away, but that succession planning for you, and also whether or not your job description should be modified from the last time we hired and you joined us. I know that we have talked about it at budget hearings and so forth. I wonder if we shouldn't officially start to modify it. And I also wondered about the town clerk position and whether or not you think that we should maintain that. not town clerk, but, I'm sorry, commission clerk for us, you know, taking the minutes, organizing the mailings, that kind of thing. It's just something I wanted to raise. We don't need to talk about it tonight, but I wanted to kind of get it in front of us.
Mhm.
Because before we know it, you're going to be posting on Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I think for the amount of money that the clerk for inland wetlands actually absorbs, it's only 10% of the entire budget. I think it's a no-brainer to keep her,
Yeah.
to keep at least that
Yeah.
portion into the land use clerk position. So I would hate to go ahead and eliminate something like that and then try to have to fight back again.
Exactly, exactly. It's better to keep it and have it be vacant.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's pretty much a given. So,
Okay.
When
but
is
yeah,
this
no,
awful day coming?
well, I told the Planning and Zoning Commission that I would stay through the rewrite of the Plan of Conservation and Development, and that should be done sometime in September, October timeframe. So we've got 8 months or so. So,
No,
Gonna fly.
no.
I know it
Bye-bye.
will,
No.
yeah, so,
You know, it's
I vote
really
no.
good from the
Seconded.
from the wetlands perspective, that we have somebody who is professionally trained. Because the Wetlands Commission, it's not a prescribed set of rules and regulations that we follow. It
Right.
is around a very site-specific set of circumstances that define a wetland and
Mhm.
define a potential land use impact on that wetland.
Right.
It's really important that we have a professional like Donna. And
Right.
it's not going to be easy
It
to find,
is.
you know, right now, the
Right.
job market in Connecticut is really
That's right.
tight.
yeah,
So I
So
worry
that skill set's
that,
gonna be hard to find in a good job market. I mean,
right,
well, I mean,
have an applicant or an application out there for trolling for somebody.
well, there's a lot of good land use folks that I run into across the state. I'm saying in this particular job market,
Mhm.
it's going to be really difficult. And, you know, we've had the benefit of Donna's expertise and her thoughtfulness for many, many years. So this is not going to be easy to replace just from that perspective, much less all of the other things that we're facing. So,
Right.
you know, and you know, part of this will be a conversation at the budget, you know, in the budget process.
right,
And I think the information that you've gathered in the past, Donna, about the salaries that similar positions make in similar sized communities,
mm-hmm,
and in our neck of the woods as well.
right.
That's been very helpful, and I don't know, it might be worth updating that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the COG to actually come out with their salary survey. They've been
When
in some turmoil with Jocelyn leaving and Rick Lynn leaving, and they have a new director now, and so things are a little, and they're in upheaval at this point in time. So I am hoping that they're going to be giving and creating some kind of a job salary survey. And that would take in about 22 towns or so.
Yeah, the problem with that is it won't probably be released in time to help us with this year's budget and planning for next year.
Right. So, I mean, I don't have any problem going out there and looking to see what everybody's budgets are, because it's, you know, it's out there. It's all public information. So if they're not going to be doing one, I can contact Janelle at the COG and see whether or not they're going to be doing a salary survey. And if they're not, then I can just start that research myself. And that's something that I can do while I'm sitting around watching television at night, you know, so it's not that big of a deal.
And you've actually done it recently, so it would just be updating it.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And they had the
Okay.
Board of Selectmen meeting tonight. That's where I was. She had a special meeting tonight that started at 3:30 and didn't end until like 6:15. So I was there and then grabbed a sandwich real fast and then started this meeting. But she was supposed to set up the budget meeting schedule so that we knew when we were coming in to meet, and they never did that. I don't know if they're gonna wait until our next meeting in February to do it. But as soon as I find out what that timing is like, I'll let you know.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay,
And you saw, right, the email from Darcy Winther that the inland wetland agent training program is back up again?
Yes.
Okay, all
yeah,
right. So, which is a good thing. It's been stalled for the past 3 or 4 years. If you're interested in doing it, it is free. And if it's not free, I have money in the budget. So, you know,
and you can kind of do it at your own pace
yes.
online, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Hillary,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hillary, Ken,
Now,
Anthony.
when I went
Stephanie.
looking into it, it looked like you needed some sort of access for the Yukon Clear program. Has anyone tried to go through this before?
Let me
I didn't know
look
if it
into
was-
that, Ken, and I'll let you know.
Okay, because I didn't have anything and it didn't show me, I was looking quickly, I didn't see a link for where to sign up for it, so I didn't know if we had to, you know, register privately through the town for that and then gain access to it.
Okay, let me find out and
Yeah.
I'll let everybody know.
Okay.
Thanks, Donna.
thank
Sure.
you.
So because you can kind of take it at your own pace, I'm gonna take it again just because I can take it at my own pace. I don't have to.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel terrible. I miss all
Okay.
the meetings and conferences, but this is,
All right.
Thanks, Hillary. If you can email that stuff to me, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. So anything else tonight? Okay. So we can take a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Seconded.
All right, Ken. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
All right, all.
See you next
Hey.
month.
Be safe,
Good night.
everybody.
Good night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Night.
Good night.
COVID.
No. Dry mouth, dry mouth.
Yeah, I just got word that my son's wife just came down with COVID out in Iowa. Fortunately, they don't have any children.
My
But,
granddaughter. Is she all
I'm worried
right?
about, I'm worried, yes, she's recovering fast. She was in bed for a day or two. And, but now she's out and recovering fast. But I'm worried about my son because, you know, they're living together.